Hey guys, it's Joe from Pocketnow.com, and today I'd like to show you something a little bit different. Doesn't have anything to do with Android, but it does have everything to do with how we get Android content onto the site. So today I'd like to show you my server closet. I'd like to show you my computer monitor and keyboard. You might get a kick out of that. And then my laptop where I render most of my videos. Let's go take a look at the closet. Did you ever wonder why they call a server closet a server closet? Well, it's because you put your server in a closet. It doesn't need to be out where everybody can see it. It just needs to be tucked away. So there's my server, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Over here you see my Comcast cable modem. Now I bought this so I didn't have to pay a $5 a month rental fee for it, and I haven't had a lick of problem with it since I got it years and years ago. Moving over, I've got a Buffalo 802.11n gigabit router, which has served me very well. I like it quite a bit. But between these two devices it gets kind of hot, so I hacked together a nice little 120mm case fan, hooked that into a USB connector, and it spins nice and slow, sucks down just a little bit of power, and it blows right across my Buffalo router. So keeps things nice and cool, doesn't take up too much power, so it's really nice. This Buffalo, moving to my next device, has a NAS feature, so I can plug in a USB hard drive, which is what I've done here, and have network attached storage. So kind of nice. It's only 30 gig, but this is the drive that I pulled out of my Zune 30 when I upgraded my Zune to a 100 gig Zune, back before the 120s were available. So I had a 100 gig Zune and a spare 30 gig drive laying around, so I bought this neat little enclosure, hooked it up, and look at that. Now I've got a 30 gig NAS sitting there for whatever I want to do with it. Now this has gigabit Ethernet on it, which is really important when you're doing any kind of high bandwidth stuff like uploading videos, for example. But I ran out of ports quickly. That's okay. I got this little 10100 switch. Gives me an extra 5 ports, so it's pretty good, and it's good for my low bandwidth stuff. Now when I say low bandwidth, what do I mean? Well, right next door I've got this neat little Linksys Voip Box. Tried to standardize on Linksys, and then I went with Buffalo, and I've been really happy with the Buffalo, so yeah, what can I say? But back to this. This is a VoIP box. Now, in Brandon's video, you heard that he had Vonage for voice over IP. I did too, and I loved it. But then I heard about this Canadian company called Les.net, L-E-S.net, and they are a wholesale VoIP provider. And I found that for about $5 a month, I can get virtually everything that Vonage gave me, and I could have my own box. So, and in fact, I don't even need a box. I can type my my SIP settings into a SIP provider on my Android phone, for example, and use that for my phone provider. It's really cool. But this little box hooks up to my house's phone lines. In fact, it wherever that cable is, it's hooked up somewhere. And it just hooks onto the phone line, so the whole house can talk through that box over the internet, and it's great. So let's move down here. I've got a little terabyte hard drive right there for backups, and it stays on all the time, connected via USB, so the drives sleep and it takes a very little power except when it's doing backups. So I really like that a lot. Now I've cracked the case open. Let me see if I can turn the light on here for you. Light up the inside. I've cracked the side panel off so you can take a look inside. I run it with it on all the time for better airflow. What I've got here is a machine I built myself. This is a quad-core processor. I have, we're going to go diagonal or sideways here. I've got 2 sticks of 2 gig RAM, so a total of 4. This is a 64-bit system. You'll notice something interesting down here. I've got a good video card. That's a Sound Blaster. And then above that I've got a high-definition digital Hauppauge video card. So this is my Media Center PC, but you'll notice I don't have an extra video card in here. And I'll get to that in just a second. Moving on out, I've got a whole bunch of hard drives right in there. Only one of them's hooked up. It's a terabyte drive. All the others are just standbys. I'm going to raid those up one of these days. I've got my DVD burner right there. I took my power button off because I was always bumping that accidentally. Multi-card reader, a Zip 250 drive from back when we used Zips, and a throwback to floppies, because you never know. So that's the server. Now, why don't I have a video card? Well, the video adapter in there is pretty high-end. It outputs 1080p without a problem, so I don't have any problem at all with that. And if you look over here on my UPS, I'm pulling 92 watts right now, recording high definition on 2 different channels and running everything in this closet. So for basically a little bit more than a light bulb, I'm running my entire server closet. Not too bad, and that's what I was shooting for. The less power you use, the cooler things are. The cooler things are, the longer your equipment's going to last. So that's the server closet. Now let me go out and show you what this is all hooked up to. Okay, so out here in the living room we have this connected to my TV, and I don't even know how big that is anymore. 50 some odd inches. But the nice thing about this is it's connected via HDMI, so I can go right off of my motherboard into this TV. And right now I'm just doing video, though technically I could do audio over that HDMI port as well. But I get full high definition screen. You can see here, I've got Pocketnow up full width, and I still have enough over on the side of the screen to show you my system information. So kind of nice. Now, how do I get stuff into that computer? Well, that's where I have my Logitech Keyboard. In fact, I think this is called the De Novo Mini. What this is, just a little Bluetooth keyboard, very small. In fact, to show you side by side with my Nexus 1 just how small this is, it's not bad. The keyboard itself is about the same size as the on-screen keyboard on the Nexus, and it's got this little trackpad on the side that functions either as a mouse, or with a flip of this switch over here it can be a directional pad, which I actually switch between those two quite often. Over here I've got my Logitech 5.1 surround sound, and I've got my subwoofer in the back over there. I've got a Microsoft Bluetooth mouse charger right next to it, and our Wii. And then over here we have my laptop. This is a Dell 11Z, I believe. It's a dual-core processor. It doesn't have an awful lot of power, but this is where I do most of my writing and also most of the rendering of the video that I shoot and the uploading. One thing I've found is 802.11n, not reliable if you want to upload half a gig worth of video. So I take this and I plug it in right over here to one of those gigabit Ethernet ports, and it works just fine. Takes a little bit of time, but it works great. So that's the setup. It works really, really well. In the future, I'm probably going to get a little bit more hard drive space, RAID that together, so I've got more than a terabyte of space on the media center. But you can tell there's the closet that the computer's in, and there's the cables that transfer out all of the video and audio to the 5.1 surround, and it works great. So I can watch Netflix on there, I can watch DVDs, I can stream stuff in from TV.com, and I can watch all of the Pocketnow videos in high definition right there from the comfort of my own couch. So, taking a look at the hardware that powers Pocketnow.com, I'm Joe Levi. If you thought this was kind of cool, give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to our video channel yet, now's the time to do it. Stay on top of all things in the smartphone arena, all the trends, all the tips, tricks, and hacks. We cover Android, Windows Mobile, Windows Phone 7. We've even got some BlackBerry, some Samsung proprietary, Nokia, who knows what kind of stuff we're going to have tomorrow. The only way you can do that is by subscribing to our channel today. So again, Joe Levi with Pocketnow.com.